If you're a maintenance supervisor at a manufacturing facility and your machinery isn't working right, Grainger knows you need to understand what's wrong as soon as possible. So when a conveyor motor falters, Grainger offers diagnostic tools like calibration kits and multimeters to help you identify and fix the problem. With Grainger, you can be confident you have everything you need to keep your facility running smoothly. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Your kids could get free or low-cost health coverage from Medicaid or CHIP. Even if you've applied before, they may be eligible now. Kids up to age 19 are covered for checkups, vaccines, dentist visits, hospital care, and more. And if they already have Medicaid or CHIP, remember to renew every year. Visit insurekidsnow.gov or call 877-KIDS-NOW. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
After a while, I don't know, maybe it just becomes a slog to have to make it every day. I don't know. I cook every day, so what the fuck am I complaining about?
I mean, to be fair, yeah, because I don't love cooking, but I would I also cheated because I bought a bag of individual bags of, portioned out frozen fruit. So I'm not like chopping it up and doing it.
No, but that's smart. I mean, you're not supposed to use fresh fruit, from what I've heard. You're supposed to use fruit.
Yeah, I mean, you should use all frozen or cold things when you're making a smoothie.
Otherwise, it's
at least
disgusting.
From what I understand.
Have you ever had a smoothie made with like a warm strawberry or a warm banana?
No.
It is awful.
With like no ice or anything?
Well, it has ice, but the problem is because nothing else is cold, or the ice is the only really cold thing, it's like the ice is having to work against the fact that you didn't cool it down to begin with.
And it's just melting, basically.
Yeah. It's not pleasant. It's just not pleasant. You know what else is not pleasant? Watching Robert Loggia melt in front of our eyes in Wild Palms.
Robert Loggia.
And this is the Kulturecast, and I'm joined by my good friend, the host of the Scary Stories We Tell podcast, and various other Ohio-based things, Jess Byard.
Hello.
It's been a while, hasn't it?
It has.
I think
I've been very busy.
Was like end of Jess Byard July, or Jess Byard June. Were you on?
June, yes. Oh my God.
Were you
Was I on in July?
Did you watch a Burt Reynolds movie?
No. Wait. I watched it, but I think something came up that night and I couldn't be on the show. Because I do remember watching it and be like, what the fuck?
What did you watch?
It was the Lucky Lady one or whatever.
Oh, right. Lucky Lady. Great episode of the show. Great conversation. Definitely not what we're talking about here. On this episode of the Kulturecast, we're talking about Twin Peaks. I wouldn't be surprised if Burt Reynolds showed up in Wild Palms. He wouldn't be.
Every fucking buddy else is in it.
Yeah, including Catherine Bigelow.
Yes.
Yeah.
And getting to direct an episode.
Yeah, which is awesome because, women getting to do that in Hollywood is great.
Especially in the 90s.
Yeah. Yes, especially in the 90s. So on this final episode of TV Movie Month at the Kulturecast, we're going to be talking about 1993's Oliver Stone presented by Wild Palms.
Los Angeles, 2007. Harry Wyckoff is an ambitious attorney.
Everybody knows you're making partner.
Who has it all.
You're the best thing that's ever happened to me, Grace.
But Harry wants more.
How would you like to work for me? At 5 times your old salary.
Greed is about to trap him.
You're with us now.
Between good and evil.
We're talking two groups. Political enemies.
The defenders of freedom.
One day you're gonna find out that our country no longer belongs to us.
And their oppressors.
Senator Tony Kreitzer.
A corrupt elite.
We are the cardinals of this cathedral.
Beaming virtual reality into homes around the world.
He is our Alexander, and he will conquer the countries of our imaginations one by one, and we will dream him into infinity.
And using it to seize power through intimidation.
This better be good.
I'm gonna do some cutting now, okay?
Seduction.
Pull him in, show him the wild blue sky.
I want you to touch me.
And mind control.
I have seen the future. It shall be.
For Harry Wyckoff, the nightmare has just begun.
I think you do things you can't imagine.
Who's dangerous?
There's more than one reality.
Your marriage was arranged, Harry.
They have taken my baby and given me the son of another.
Did you think there wasn't a price to pay?
I don't like being ambushed, Paige.
I'm not gonna let them hurt you.
He betrays you at every breath.
You don't know what you're up against.
Oliver Stone, the director of theatrical and home video hits Platoon, Wall Street, and JFK, brings to home video the entertainment event of the year, Wild Palms.
Right.
Jess.
Oliver's right.
I mean,
I was more so saying that to the Oliver
Stone.
Stone, right? But I was saying that to that because it doesn't really feel. I mean, I don't feel like he had I guess he had a lot to do with it, but it doesn't feel quite as Oliver Stone as you would think for something that says presented by.
Yeah, and that's the weird thing about this is, look, I kind of already joked about it, but I think it's the closest comparison. You and I talked about this before we started. Earlier today we actually talked about this, or yesterday on the phone. So before I ask you what you thought, I do think we need to kind of just address this and get this out of the way. The closest thing I can compare this to is Twin Peaks. And if you watch this, which I think you kind of should, because I think it's definitely interesting, it has a feel to it that is reminiscent of Twin Peaks. Not in the, well, kind of in the tone, a lot in the presentation.
Right.
And when I say Twin Peaks, I mean Twin Peaks season 1 and 2, not season 3, which is
no, not Firewalk
almost
with me.
Not even Twin Peaks. It's kind of its own thing in a lot of ways that sets itself apart from the second season of that show.
So yes, the David Lynch Twin Peaks, there is a thing. I even have a thing in my notes where it says don't talk about it a bunch.
Yeah, because it's an unfortunate
because it's obvious,
comparison.
and there's a couple reasons for that. Like we said, it came out in 1993. It was on ABC, correct?
Yeah.
And ABC greenlit it under the condition that it would be a mini series because they didn't want to do something like Twin Peaks again because the second season happened and what happened with it happened. So
even though the second season of Twin Peaks had the problems that it had because of ABC.
Right, yeah. Yeah.
But don't do that again. It's not our fault. It's David Lynch's fault. Like, no, guys. Like, that's not how that works.
So, yeah, like, in more so execution and presentation, like, the opening of Wild Palms is upward shots of palm trees, much like Twin Peaks is upward shots of pine trees. And it just has that overall feel.
There's a lot of obfuscation. There's a lot of like twists that are going on. A lot of information that's withheld up until
strange
almost the last
dreams.
episode. The strange dreams. There's a lot of stuff going on that when I mean, you know what? Even the music by Ryuichi Sakamoto is very evocative. It evokes.
Right, because it's very droning and.
Yeah.
But I would also be remiss to say that while this is Twin Peaks in execution, it is much closer to Videodrome in story.
Yeah.
Down to a specific line, but
yeah, pretty much. So for those of you that don't know what Wild Palms is, and again,
I did not know what Wild Palms was before we did this.
No, I had never heard of it either. This entire month comes programmed by one of our Patreon supporters, Andrew. So these are all things that stuck out to him that he thought that we should watch. I've been pretty much impressed.
Bugs crashing your pack's party? Whether they've got paws or sneakers, your pack deserves a home that's protected from pests. That's where Wondercide comes in. Plant-powered protection made with steam-distilled natural essential oils that actually work. It kills and repels fleas, ticks, mosquitoes, and ants without questionable ingredients or overpowering smells. Safe to use around kids and pets when used as directed, lab-proven to work fast, and proudly made in the USA. We offer sprays for pets, people, homes, and yards. Plus, spot-on treatments, collars, and even shampoos. Whatever your pack needs, we've got it covered. Founded by a pet parent looking for a better way to protect her dog Luna, Wondercide's now protected over 21 million lives and counting. You might have even seen us on Shark Tank. Go to Wondercide.com and use code WONDER20 for 20% off your first order. That's WONDER20 at Wondercide.com. Wondercide. Protect your pack with plant-powered Wondercide today.
Hello, this is Aaron West. I am the author of the A24 New Wave. In this book, I look at A24's output and I make the argument that we are in a new wave movement right now. A24 plays a major role. This book has a supplemental podcast where each episode is a brief conversation about an A24 related topic, whether an actor, director, or even a genre. As I continue research for the book and conduct interviews, I expect to record podcast episodes with people involved with the company. You can find the podcast at cinejourneys.com or wherever you find podcasts, and we are proud to be members of the Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network.
I have been impressed with everything this month, and I think for me, this may be the best thing I've watched all month because, like you said, it is essentially a cyberpunk videodrome in a lot of ways. But
a really bland one.
Well, so it's the weird thing about it is the cyberpunk choices that they make are more idiosyncrasies and less full cyberpunk. It's like in the future they're all gonna wear Edwardian get-ups because that's what that was.
For some reason.
Yeah, for whatever reason. Like this is set in 2007 and everybody's wearing collarless shirts now. Like collarless dress shirts. And it's there's a lot of weird idiosyncrasies. Like there's I believe James Belushi's character is driving around in like a T-Bird or something to that effect. There's a lot of interesting choices.
Right.
But the entire story, similarly to Twin Peaks, starts out with a woman played by Kim Cattrall coming to James Belushi's character, Harry Wyckoff, who's a patent attorney, and she asks him, hey, can you help me find my son? He's missing. And that entire question is kind of what drives, not the first entire, not the entire show, but the first 3 episodes at least.
Right. Because it's a setup. It's how you get into the world.
Right. What world, you might ask? The world of the Friends and the Fathers. So the Fathers are, for all intents and purposes, like a right-wing totalitarian government, which is
religious,
very Scientology
based. Yeah. I mean, God, yeah, 100%.
There's even a Sea Org. There is a Sea Org, which is a big part of Scientology. This movie has a Sea Org, just like Scientology does. They have a charismatic leader, just like Scientology does, to the point where Robert Loggia kind of looks like L. Ron Hubbard.
Yeah, he kind of does.
Yeah, but you have him, the fathers, Robert Loggia, these right-wing characters who are in control of the media and politics, and then you have a more libertarian movement, the Friends, who oppose the government and are doing everything that they can in using guerrilla tactics to take down that government that controls the media and the politics, i.e. you were talking about Videodrome, Long Live the New Flesh. That's kind of that
right. The purpose of turning this television network into a brainwashing utility.
That's what I couldn't figure out. Are they trying to brainwash people or put people into a state of total suggestive. I guess that is still brainwashing.
It's still brainwashing. I mean, it's more so just like a really. So we should preface that yes, this is set in the future, which in their future is 2007. And the big draw for this TV station is the advent of, really, really high tech virtual reality, or because it was the 90s, holograms.
Yeah. Holograms in your living room. You have like
your living room.
It's like a little thing.
Which we can talk about that as a concept.
And shoots it out into your room, and it turns your space into essentially, I guess, a TV show. It puts the actors
kind of, but it just puts the actors there, like nothing else.
Right. So
can the stories all just take place in like a house?
I guess that was what I didn't understand. Like right at the top here, the way that they're trying to brainwash everyone is to get them hooked on this show called Church Windows, which if you have the Mimicom device in your house, you get it beamed into your living room. But yeah, like you said, the show is the most mundane, banal bullshit. And I think that's the point.
It's like sitcom shit.
Yeah, I think the point...
Mimicom, sitcom. Yeah,
I think the point of it is to make the viewers feel at ease with what they're seeing because it's as mundane as their real lives are. Which, if you think about where television has gone in the last 15, 20 years, people literally watch people do their daily jobs on TV. So we're not too far from that in a lot of ways.
This show is fairly prescient. In what it is, and it's also based on a comic strip. I don't know that we mentioned that.
No, it is based on a comic strip by Bruce Wagner.
Yes, which, to be honest, I did not look up the comic strip, so I can't say anything about what it might be like.
I didn't look up the comic strip, but I did purchase a copy of the Wild Palms Reader, which is a companion piece of literature, kind of like the, what was it called? The Twin Peaks? Whatever like Mark...
Classified, whatever the fuck.
Yeah, whatever came out a couple of years ago. This is like a piece of evidence from the universe of Wild Palms. So it's a book that's written like it's set in that universe. It's talking about the Robert Loggia, Tony Kreitzer's character, and it's meant to flesh more of the backstory out, help explain some things, because, like we've kind of mentioned, and similarly to Twin Peaks, it kind of holds its hand back for literally as long as it can, because part of the fun of the show is trying to unravel the mystery with the characters, which you do get to go along with James Belushi's character and kind of figuring out why he is being brought into the world of the Wild Palms.
Channel 3.
Yeah, Channel 3 and Church Windows. So I didn't get a chance to ask you, Jess, what did you think of Wild Palms, since this was both a first viewing time for both of us?
I mean, I thought it could have been a little shorter. I think, overall, it's interesting. It's fine. I don't know. I think because it's so similar to other things, very much like Videodrome and Twin Peaks, it's hard for me to get out of that brain space, because there are a lot of similarities to both of them. And while I know it's based on a comic strip, I still feel like just the translation from comic to screen became more manufactured to be like other things. But I mean, for its time, I think that it's, it is very prescient. Like I said, it is talking about technology that is somewhat in vein of what we do have now. I mean, we didn't have in 2007, but I think that it's also, it's a pretty relevant commentary on, the world at large and the powers that be. But it was okay. I didn't love it. I didn't hate it. I don't really think I'll watch it again. I really like BB New Earth. And Brad Dourif. I always love to see Brad Dourif.
So, I think I know I enjoyed it more than you did, based on what you just said. I would watch it again. I think your criticisms are completely on point. It is very similar to a lot of other things. I see that as a little bit of a benefit in a lot of ways, because it would make it easier for someone to maybe approach this, as opposed to in 1993, which, while it was received rather mixed. Most people saying, like, this is fucking weird, or this is fun. Like, is either this is fucking weird and I don't like this, or this is fun. Where have we heard that before? Twin Peaks. But for me, I think it's a fun idea to play around with. It's an interesting world. I think that there is a performance from James Belushi that I'm surprised by, because
that's for sure.
Yeah, I don't consider Jim Belushi. It's not that I don't consider him a good
serious actor.
I don't consider him a serious actor, and I don't think I've seen him in very many things. I've seen him in Jingle All the Way, where he plays like a con man Santa, and that is the thing that I remember him from the most out of everything I've seen him in. And he's really good in this. He's actually really, really good. He plays the perfect sympathetic lead without a shred of irony to him. He's like, it plays it very straight-laced and very like straightforward, which is what is needed in a piece of material like this, where everything else in the world is so fucking insane.
Bugs crashing your pack's party? Whether they've got paws or sneakers, your pack deserves a home that's protected from pests. That's where Wondercide comes in. Plant-powered protection made with steam-distilled natural essential oils that actually work. It kills and repels fleas, ticks, mosquitoes, and ants without questionable ingredients or overpowering smells. Safe to use around kids and pets when used as directed. Lab-proven to work fast. And proudly made in the USA. We offer sprays for pets, people, homes, and yards. Plus, spot-on treatments, collars, and even shampoos. Whatever your pack needs, we've got it covered. Founded by a pet parent looking for a better way to protect her dog Luna, Wonderside's now protected over 21 million lives and counting. You might have even seen us on Shark Tank. Go to Wonderside.com and use code WONDER20 for 20% off your first order. That's WONDER20 at Wonderside.com. Wonderside. Protect your pack with plant-powered Wonderside today.
Hello and welcome to Tumbleweeds and TV Cowboys. My name is Hunter. In this podcast, I'll be joined by a different guest each week to discuss a classic Western movie or TV show. I've been a fan of classic Westerns for as long as I can remember, and in recent years, they've become very nostalgic for me. I love the aesthetic, the tropes, and I love seeing different filmmakers' takes on them. At their best, they're incredibly entertaining, rewatchable, and some of my all-time favorite movies are Westerns. We'll mostly focus on Western movies made in Hollywood, but we'll also be covering spaghetti Westerns, and one thing I'm very excited to get into are Western TV shows. I've got some amazing guests coming on the show, film professors, historians, and podcasters. And Tumbleweeds and TV Cowboys is part of the Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network, and many guests on the show will be from other shows on the network. Thanks for listening.
You do need kind of the one character seemingly grounded in reality to take the place of the audience, and Jim Belushi pretty much checks that box immediately. From like the moment he's introduced. He's like, not the everyman, he's a lawyer, but you get the sense that...
A patent attorney.
Yeah, you get the sense that he's not the best attorney in town type thing.
Right. He's just working day to day.
Yeah. And then he gets fired from his job because of Kim Cattrall's character coming into his life, because she's the PR director of the Wild Palms Group. And because of that, he gets fired from his job, and then he gets hired by Robert Loggia's Tony Kreitzer to run his Wild Palms Group and work in in doing lawyer things, legal counsel for the Wild Palms Group. And holy shit, Robert Loggia. Like...
I mean, he's always fun. I mean, he's just brings so much energy to everything. And I think him getting I like to see when he gets to let loose and just be fucking crazy.
I mean, Robert Loggia's good in Independence Day. He's good in Big. He's a good actor, but when you really let him like just go, he turns in a performance like this, and I would go as far as to say whenever he's on screen, he steals the show. Every time. Right. Absolutely. Well, without a question.
I mean, he is in Lost Highway.
That's fair. Yeah. God.
And so, I mean, James Belushi's in Twin Peaks: A Return. So, I mean, it's hard to separate that. But I do. Well, and in Innocent Blood, he's really crazy in Innocent Blood, too. That's a good one.
Never seen that one. You know who else is really good in this? That, like, I haven't seen him in almost anything else? Ben Savage. He's a really good, creepy kid.
Yeah, he is.
Like a
so
like
in this
menacing
world,
child.
yeah, in this world, he gets cast in the new Church Windows show, and joins the father's cult, I guess, to get like weird tattoos.
Part of it the whole time.
I guess. Well, I was getting there.
That's fair.
But yes, it does turn out that Ben Savage's character was pretty much set up for design, like to become the leader of this party to appeal to youth, essentially.
I guess I couldn't really tell what they were getting at with his character because
I assumed.
Yeah, that's a
like
fair,
he plays the video games. We're all about this holographic thing. Let's make a kid, and like they're. I kind of also was thinking about it in conjunction of like the kid evangelical preachers back in the day.
Sure, and he also murders people. I mean, the Ben Savage character murders a couple people in the movie too. It's what the entire show is predicated on is what is the Wild Palms group, what are they doing, and who can stop what they're doing if they can be stopped. And Jim Belushi's character ends up being the son of Robert Loggia and some other woman, I guess, who Jim Belushi believed to be his mother. And then his own son is the son of Kim Cattrall and Robert Loggia? Is that who his mom is?
You're my new mom now.
Well, that's what I couldn't figure out, because it turns out with Ben Savage also being Robert Loggia's son, that means Jim Belushi and Ben Savage are not father and son like they believed to be.
They're brothers.
They're brothers. Yeah. But what I didn't understand throughout this entire show, and maybe we can suss this out, maybe you came to a conclusion that I didn't, what was Jim Belushi's character's point? At one point, David Warner goes, "You were born to help me take down the Wild Palms group." So I get, did they they didn't take down the Wild Palm group in the end. That's what they're leading into if they had gotten to make a second season or a second series. But I could never suss out what Jim Belushi's character's real purpose was.
I think it was, if Robert Loggia is his father, then he's trying to bring him into the fold, take over the TV station and go to my will. But then David Warner is like, actually, you have this different fate. And so it's just like him going back and forth. But honestly, he just doesn't have that many decisions in that realm, because he's mostly just walking around for most of it asking what the hell's going on.
Yeah. I think that is probably the issue I had the most with this, is they almost let off the gas on the Jim Belushi character too much. He is too much of an audience stand-in, and if you or I were in this world, we would be walking around going what the fuck is going on? Jim Belushi does that a little too much. It almost seems like he was dropped into this like we were. He wasn't alive in this universe before the credits started. Right.
Who? I didn't sign up for this. Who's Kim? I didn't realize Kim Cattrall was my mother-in-law, or
mother.
Kim Cattrall would be his stepmother. Yeah.
Yeah. And then Angie Dickinson.
But didn't they date?
His mother, and yeah, they did. I guess
when they were in college.
Yeah, or high school or something. And then I think actually one of the better parts of this is Angie Dickinson. Who is,
I was gonna say.
Oh my God, so menacing and just whoo-wee. She is
I wanted more of her.
Oh,
she's horrible. She's a terrible. So we should mention that Angie Dickinson plays Josie Ito.
Yeah.
Who is Grace's mother, and she is married to Harry, Jim Belushi's character. So effectively Harry's stepmother. And there's a sequence in, I think it might be the second episode, where in the first episode you learn that she has powers, higher up. She has control of power higher up, and she's got a lot of people that can hurt you. But in the second episode, I think it is, she pulls Grace, her daughter, around the corner and just punches her twice in the stomach.
Yeah. She's like, do what I say.
It's just holy shit.
Yeah. Well, is that the same episode where she blinds Nick Mancuso? Because I'm pretty sure
I think it is. Or that happens at the end of the... No, so that happens at the end of the first episode.
Oh, man. Yeah, that's the moment you realize... Because Angie Dickinson's character for probably... The first episode is essentially a movie. It's 2 hours long.
Right, it's an hour and a half.
For probably the first hour and a half of that, hour and 20 minutes of that first episode, there's nothing exciting about Angie Dickinson's character. She just seems to be a kind of miserly old woman. And then, like you said, you have
to be privy to the weird rhino dreams that both Jim Belushi and Ben Savage are having.
Right, which would lead you to believe she knows what's going on, which she does, because, also spoiler, it turns out that she is Robert Loggia's sister. So
everybody's related.
Yeah,
is the moral of the story.
So if Robert Loggia and Angie Dickinson are brother and sister, and Jim Belushi is Robert Loggia's son, that would not make Angie Dickinson his mother-in-law. That would make Angie Dickinson Jim Belushi's aunt. Right?
Right. Yeah, yes.
The familial connections, I feel like, get not glossed over, but they're kind of just like, oh yeah, and Robert Loggia is actually Jim Belushi's dad. Like, and then we're moving on. Like, what?
It's like, did that matter? Like, wait, hold on.
Yeah, I think it's supposed to. I mean, it's obviously supposed to matter given the fact that Ben Savage.
Right, but they don't play it like they don't give us any time with anything really.
No, and
in that regard.
Yeah, and I think that is one of my issues with this is in something like Twin Peaks or other shows. I mean, again, not even mentioning Twin Peaks, shows that are predicated on a big twist or metering out information slowly to keep the viewers.
Bugs crashing your PAX party? Whether they've got paws or sneakers, your pack deserves a home that's protected from pests. That's where Wondercide comes in. Plant-powered protection made with steam-distilled natural essential oils that actually work. It kills and repels fleas, ticks, mosquitoes, and ants without questionable ingredients or overpowering smells. Safe to use around kids and pets when used as directed. Lab-proven to work fast. And proudly made in the USA. We offer sprays for pets, people, homes, and yards. Plus, spot-on treatments, collars, and even shampoos. Whatever your pack needs, we've got it covered. Founded by a pet parent looking for a better way to protect her dog Luna, Wonderside's now protected over 21 million lives and counting. You might have even seen us on Shark Tank. Go to Wonderside.com and use code WONDER20 for 20% off your first order. That's WONDER20 at Wonderside.com. Wonderside. Protect your pack with plant-powered Wonderside today.
Hello, my name is Kevin Tudor, and I'm one of the 3 hosts of Almost Major, a film podcast dissecting many major indie studios and the films they release. Every week, myself, Charlie Nash, and Bryden Doyle discuss overlooked, forgotten, or bona fide classic indie films via studio-specific miniseries. We've previously covered numerous films from Artisan Entertainment, Lionsgate Films, and New Line Cinema. Titles including The Blair Witch Project, American Psycho, Dogville, But I'm a Cheerleader, Saw, Requiem for a Dream, and Ringmaster, you know, the Jerry Springer film. Anyways, we have a fun time every week and we hope you will join us. Subscribe to Almost Major wherever you get your podcasts. Now proudly a part of the Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network.
Engaged.
Lost, whatever, yeah.
Yeah. With those shows, the twists have to be interesting and they often need to not only answer a question but also pose more questions at the same time. Because any writer worth his salt will know if you answer a question, you better have another question to ask right after it, or in the reveal of the answer, another question is asked. And like you said, in this, while there are big twists, again, Robert Loggia is Jim Belushi's dad, Ben Savage is Jim Belushi's brother, you know, his daughter, or I guess his son's not actually his son. There's all kinds of twists. They don't give them any time to breathe at all. And they kind of just zoom through them. And it doesn't help me understand the show or comprehend the show or synthesize the show if you don't give me some time to kind of absorb and understand what's going on. It's just downhill the entire time, which...
Right, it's just like, here's a bunch of information, here's a bunch of information.
Yeah, well, I mean, look, the second season of Twin Peaks is not looked upon fondly because it does spin its wheels a fair amount on unnecessary relationships and other things that ultimately don't go anywhere. So I just, you would think for a show that's 5 episodes, you would have tightened the structure up a little bit.
Yeah, you would think that within 5 episodes, especially something, because while it is a story with a bunch of twists and turns, it's not something that's too difficult to follow, compared to some other shows that would fall into this sort of surrealist realm. And I mean, really nothing is that surreal about this other than like the Rhino dreams.
Yeah.
and Angie Dickinson just across the board.
Yeah. Angie Dickinson's character feels like she's from a different show in a lot of ways.
Yeah, and I think that might just be Angie Dickinson because she's awesome.
Well, I mean, her and Robert Loggia are like, their performances and what they bring to their roles is really different than what everyone else is doing, which kind of makes sense given that they're both related in the show.
Right.
And they're essentially the villain 1 and villain 2 of the show.
Right.
Villain 3 being Ben Savage. But
he's like the villain in training.
Yeah. Yeah, it's, I think similarly to something I talked about last week, Sharp's Rifle, when you have the constraints of a television movie or a television miniseries, you know that you're given a certain amount of time. Unlike a movie, I feel like that restrictive nature of television should be emphasized more, as opposed to seeing it as a problem, seeing it as a benefit, because you're not forced to figure out how long your movie is. You know how long your show has to be. It has to be about 45 minutes or about an hour and a half.
At that point, yeah.
Yeah, and so I don't understand that, because while I appreciate that they tried to fit in as much as they could, in doing that, they do have characters that seemingly are there and then die. There are side plots that are very underexplained. But then they have tons of twists that are not given a moment to breathe either. So, you have a scene I think it's in the 2nd episode, where Ernie Hudson, who's also in this, is running away from Jim Belushi, and you don't realize it's him. And I don't understand how they got to that scene.
Yeah, I don't either. I'm like, where the hell did this even happen? How did Ernie Hudson get to the beach? And
Why is Ernie Hudson
ultimately
all of a sudden a bad guy? Like,
yeah. And I mean, ultimately, because it serves the plot. But I wonder how much of this is a breakdown between translating from a comic strip, because we're talking about a comic strip, not a comic book or graphic novel or anything. Like,
it is a graphic
just
novel.
a few panels.
It got put into one, I think, but that's...
But it started out as just a few panels.
Right.
And so I can kind of see the pacing not translating as well to screen, because at that point you do kind of like, it is a slower thing, because it would have been coming out weekly, bi-weekly, and like 4 or 5 panes max.
Yeah.
So I feel like maybe some of that is lost. I think a lot of that is probably lost in the translation. And at times it kind of does feel, because it's a movie that's obviously set in the future for the time. And I think it's for the most part grounded in reality. Like there's not, and when I say grounded in reality, I mean like there's not like a lot of supernatural elements or anything like that. It's much more man-made totalitarianism, brainwashing, that kind of stuff. And I think that with that, I think maybe it's just to show, like, be a hidden point to show that Ben Savage and Jim Belushi have like a deeper connection because they're having the same type of dream, and somehow Angie Dickinson knows what it is because she knows about it, and she doesn't want the dream to go away. Because at one point, like, Ben Savage is talking about the dream, and she says, like, if you're afraid of the dream, it'll go away, and like that's a bad thing. So, but yeah, they don't really go too far into it.
So I apparently the rhinoceros, it is it's based on a Eugene Ionesco play, Rhinoceros, excuse me. where humans are turned into rhinoceroses, symbolizing conformity and affirmation to totalitarianism. And I did not know that. Cool. I mean, it makes sense. I mean,
I didn't either.
I could have told you that's kind of what it meant, given that the people that are having the dreams about rhinoceroses are the fathers, not the friends, at least not initially. So,
right.
Yeah, the dream stuff feels very much like the closest to, I don't know, I would say Twin Peaks, but shows like Twin Peaks, like Lost. That seems to be like the thing that never gets answered, and it's just like a weird thing that we just kind of don't worry about after a while because there's other things to worry about. Like, who are these characters related to, or what are their motivations, or why is Nick Mancuso in this as a character that, like, I couldn't even figure out what his character was doing half the time.
I had no idea. Like, when he showed up, I was like, who the fuck are you? And why is Angie Dickinson so mad at you?
So he's an underground artist, but I couldn't figure out his connection to what was... he was just like a socialite, and then his sister, played by Catherine Bigelow, or his lover, I guess, played by Catherine Bigelow, dies or disappears, and Angie Dickinson killed her, but I couldn't figure out why.
Because they could only have her for one episode.
Well, okay, but she also... but
I have no idea.
Yeah, it's not made very clear, which is... I mean, it's okay. I mean, again, it's a show where things are just kind of happening. I mean, again, this is the kind of show that I expect that some things are just going to happen, and they're not going to be explained. And it doesn't disappoint in that regard. And you mentioned how many people are in this show. Yeah, Chicky Levitt. Again, another character that I couldn't exactly figure out what he was doing.
He was making like those glasses, the special glasses that you could wear and just be like in
glasses.
Yeah, exactly. You just go into the VR world wherever you are. And so, okay, so let's talk a little bit about because there seems to be about two different types of what they're calling VR.
Right.
The one type is the network programming, which is the hologram projections into your space. And then the other is this, these glasses that Chicky makes because he is in a wheelchair or whatever, and being in VR world allows. Yeah. And being in VR world lets him walk and all that. Because this is very, very, very advanced VR. Let's be honest. Like, it's full on, like, you're in the world. It's full on immersive. You are it's basically teleportation.
Yeah, you put on like a pair of glasses.
You can feel everything. You can do everything.
In putting on the glasses, you cannot tell the difference between reality and virtual reality. And it's a simple pair
like a total recall.
Glasses. Yeah, pretty much.
And so, yeah, I think like he's creating these glasses, and I think he's also just like a bit of an information hub because he sees so many people. So I think that's maybe what his purpose was.
I just kind of took him as the guy who created VR, and then they killed him to take it away from him. Because that's...
Well, yeah, that too.
But I felt like they were trying to say more or get at more with his character because he is the son of David Warner, who plays the, essentially the polar opposite of Robert Loggia's character. He is the professor who was arrested and thrown in jail because he's a, libertarian, liberal, however the hell you want to look at it. So he's his son, and what I couldn't figure out is, so Robert Loggia and his group are trying to kill him to take his technology, and that's it, right? They don't want him for anything else.
Right, they just want that.
And then Robert Loggia's character has a secondary motivation, which is to get the Go chip, which is essentially a massive MacGuffin.
Right.
Through the later, probably third, fourth, and fifth episodes, is them looking for this Go chip. But
which makes you into a real life hologram?
I guess so.
Like it makes you immortal, essentially, I would think.
Well, that's what Robert Loggia is saying.
As you thought.
Yeah, well, that's what Robert Loggia is saying, like, and Jim Belushi says, he's trying to get the Go chip so that he can go into VR and just be in VR all the time. And because everybody is in the VR world, he is him being sentient as opposed to just a a filmed manifestation sitting on your couch that you can't do anything with, he can control you easier, or he is going to control you?
Or he just will be like king of that world.
I guess.
I mean, I'm sure it just has to do with like immortality, longevity, keeping the fathers going, blah, blah, blah. But they really don't go, like, he doesn't have like, I'm going to go into this world and then do this. It's just, I'm going to go into this world.
Yeah.
Nah.
Yeah. And it's like, okay, sure. Like, all right.
Fun.
And then it does peter out at the end when he just dissolves into thin air.
Yeah, because that's, oops, you can't do that, I guess. So we don't get too much into like how or why this technology works or what the rules and repercussions are. Like, if you get hurt in VR world, do you get hurt in real life? I don't know, but you probably should. I mean, you should at least feel pain anyway.
Well, the Robert Moore's character gets murdered in VR, but I can't tell if he got killed in VR and it killed him, or if he got killed not in VR as well. That's what I couldn't figure out. So I kind of erred on the side of, if they're in VR, they can die, but that's only presented one time.
Right. And like, you don't like, but in theory, if you can feel and touch and eat and whatever in VR world, then you should at least be able, like, it should at least affect your like nervous system then. So if someone like snaps your finger in VR world, it might not actually snap your finger in the real world, but you'll feel the pain.
Right.
I think. I don't know. That would be my assumption, if you can feel everything else.
Yeah, and it's weird because the two contrasting kinds of VR in this show are VR that places you in the world, or then it sets the world around you. And the technology of church windows in this show is the one where it sets the world around you.
And I would hate that. Like, I don't want that. I don't want holograms in my living room.
No, me either. I would rather be able to take the headset off.
It'd be so intrusive.
Yeah. But that's
like, how do you even work in like sets and backgrounds? You don't. Like, at one point, like when they turn it on, like when the first episode, you know, and Ben Savage is all excited to see his appearance. And it's just like a hologram. Well, you know, obviously it's just superimposed. Just cut to BB Newirth, Ben Savage, and I forget who else is in that scene at the time. Just literally standing in the living room.
Yeah.
Like, just talking about something, but you can't see what, I mean, they're presumably talking about how BB Newirth's character just got a new house and da-da-da-da-da. And I guess maybe that's the house, you're supposed to say that's your house. But that's... there's not a lot of thought when it comes to these types of VR technologies, is what I'm saying. They have a very, very short lifespan if you really start to think about them.
Yeah, and that was kind of my issue, is I guess the intention, if I can fill in the gaps here and tell me how wrong you think I am. Robert Loggia and the Wild Palms group are trying to get these sets into every house, and then I guess they're going to flip a switch and control everybody who has them. That's kind of my assumption, is try to get people to watch it, and then once enough people are watching it, control them. Or
I mean, and probably through means of like brainwash, or, you know, like, as I said, as we kind of mentioned, the show is pretty prescient. So if you just, you know, replace it with X 24-hour news cycle.
Yeah.
But just, you know, if it's nothing but just scary shit all the time, it's propaganda, essentially, like literally projecting propaganda into into homes.
Yeah, and that's what I assume Robert Loggia is going for, why he sets himself into the hologram, or the VR, why he places his consciousness in it, at least best we can tell. Again, we don't really see anything past that in relation to his character, so I assume he's successful. But Jim Belushi and Jim Belushi's actual son, not in real life, but in the show, the character of Peter is his actual son. The
son that was reported missing by Kim Cattrall, you know, a whopping 5 years after it happened.
Right. They futz with the chip, and I guess so that's what I couldn't figure out. Did Robert Loggia actually succeed, or did he just die? Because they mentioned Jim Belushi and Peter Katz, you know, those two characters, they mentioned that they sabotaged the chip.
Right.
But was this...
So I think it just killed him.
I guess so. I mean,
like, I think it just like combust, like, you know, like basically scrambled him in, you know, computerized way.
It made
reorganized his atoms,
disintegrated him. Right. I guess. Again, with a 45-minute runtime plus an hour and a half runtime, you have 4 45-minute episodes, 1 hour and a half episode. The way the show ends is it's a little rushed, and what I am amused by is reading kind of what ABC was going for, what Bruce Wagner was going for. They said that, you know, we've talked again about Twin Peaks, and they said, you know, ABC remembered how the Twin Peaks declined, and so they wanted this show to have a beginning, a middle, and an end. And I don't think it does. Because I feel like the way the show ends is not an ending. It is very much wide open.
Well, and I think what they meant was by a beginning, middle, and end meant we'll give you 5 episodes, do what you want with it, but that's all you get.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I don't know. I mean,
like, because they wanted to take a chance and be like, maybe we can get a little bit of return views from Twin Peaks viewers because it's in the same realm of, you know, surreal soap opera-y type dramas. But they also realistically knew that probably wouldn't be able to sustain an audience a second time. So they were like, okay, fine, do it. Get this pretty stacked cast of, you know, like at the time, fairly well-known actors. You know, now they'd probably be B-level, but at the time they were all, you know, like Ernie Hudson, Bebe Neuwirth, Kim Cattrall, all these people. So to me, that's kind of what it felt like. It was probably like, all right, let's see what we can do with this. Go for it. All right, that's it. That's all the time we're going to give you.
Yeah. No, I mean, I don't think they succeeded in having an ending. That's for sure. Clearly, you agree. I mean, I don't know. I sit here and I think to myself, if you're trying to avoid what happened 3 years earlier, you didn't do that, and you cannot have it both ways. Because again, like we mentioned, ABC self-inflicted what happened to Twin Peaks on Twin Peaks. They chose to make it that way. And they chose to do the same thing here. I would have watched...
They chose to rush both endings is what they chose to do.
Exactly. You know, who killed Laura Palmer? Where is, you know, Paige Katz's son? Or what is the Wild Palms group?
Well, because they're looking at it from these are the questions of the stories. But that's not really what the story's about.
No.
Doesn't really, like, the physical person that killed Laura Palmer isn't not really the answer to the story.
Just like who is Paige Katz's son or where is he almost has no bearing on this story.
Right, so, yeah.
Yeah, I think for me overall, something like this, something like Wild Palms, like you've mentioned, it's a lot to watch. It's like 280 minutes, which is a lot of time to sit and spend watching something like this. But
it is, and look, like, it's not, for me, Wild Palms kind of fails in capturing this, like, the same kind of atmosphere or whatever you want to call it, that Videodrome and other things have, because it's too grounded in reality. Everything is too, you know, like, even them doing, like, for whatever reason, Edwardian clothing, like, it all just feels very bland. And I will say that, yes, there's that aspect to things like Twin Peaks and all that, but it always seems to be for more of, like, a specific reason than in this show.
Yeah, in this it feels like they added certain things to it that, like you said, have no bearing on anything. I wish they had gone more cyberpunk. Yes, I know that this is 93 on television, financial limitations, but it's also presented by Oliver Stone. You're telling me Oliver Stone couldn't have gotten this show a bigger budget. You're telling me that ABC couldn't have given them a little bit more money.
Yeah, Oliver Stone in 1993. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, for me, I think that the show, to your point, I think it does a lot in regards to set design, set dressing, the way that it looks. I think it's interesting. It's unique. It's its own thing. It's, again, not really cyberpunk, but it is. It feels...
It's just set in a not too distant future that's not too different from where we are now, I guess.
Yeah.
You know.
It's not full Johnny Mnemonic. Like, it's not like a dystopian wasteland.
Or like Existence.
Yeah, but it's getting there. I mean, these are like the early stages of it because the fathers, again, are trying to control everything. Where have we heard that before? You know, that, I mean, I wanted more weird stuff. Like.
Right. Yeah, it didn't commit fully to it. There were only like, there's things peppered in throughout, but honestly, it's just okay. Like that's ultimately where it falls for me, where it's like something that I will definitely give props to it existing and to it being a thing, and especially in 1993, and for like ABC taking any chances on anything then, because we know no TV network takes chances on anything now, and no studio takes chances on anything now. So I'll always applaud something that, you know, is a genuinely different thing. It's just not different and interesting enough to sustain how long it is. And I think that that's where the pacing and the comic strip and the translation to screen kind of break down.
Well, and I wish there had been more kind of going after the big things that they kind of set up that they're going after. I wish they had gone after Scientology in a more substantive way. I mean, as opposed to just saying, it's all a cult of personality, they're all full of shit, the guy in charge is nuts, which is essentially what they say in this movie. And they're out for evil. Like, I think we already all knew all of that. Like, I don't need to watch this to know that. Obviously, 93 is a different time than 2021. But I wish they had leaned more into some of the interesting things they do bring up. Like, where does the line between reality and virtual reality end or begin? And
what are the end goals of being able to do this?
Right. Yeah. And why is Robert Loggia doing what he's doing if it's not just about brainwashing everyone? Because, again, there also seems to be some sort of spiritual component to this that they kind of hint at. There's a lot of imagery to it. I mean, fucking The Church Windows is the name of the show. I mean, that's pretty unsubtle as far as subtlety goes. But I just wish they had not explained more, but filled the question bucket with more questions that were interesting that they could have just kind of talked about throughout the show. Like, or just things that they bring up, like readdress it, have something to say about Scientology or virtual reality. Don't just waffle around and not say anything, or one or two things, if that.
Right, because now it just feels meandering.
Well, it kind of feels quaint, the way that it approaches VR and Scientology. Like, there have been other things that have done this better, that have said more with less than 285-minute runtime. They've done more with less. I mean, to watch this from beginning to end is like 5 hours. And by the end of it... Yeah, I watched it
in 2 days.
Yeah, me too. And by the end of it, I'm just like, I like this world. I would revisit this world. I would watch something, a reboot, remake, reimagining, another story set in this world. I would watch that. But walking away from this, it made me want more of this, but it also made me want this show to do more. And that's kind of unfortunate.
And that probably has something to do with, the results of Twin Peaks and them not being like, okay, now don't go too weird with it because we don't want to do that again.
We don't want to alienate the audience to the point of them tuning out.
Right. But you risk boring the audience at that point.
Yeah. No, you do. And I don't think the audiences were bored. I think from everything that I'm reading and have read about the reception, it's just the audiences were kind of confused, which...
Yeah, that makes sense.
They would be confused now.
I think that you and I would also be kind of confused.
Yeah, but I think, like you mentioned, by the end of it, unlike something like Twin Peaks, which, to David Lynch's credit, it is kind of open for interpretation, there's not a lot of that here. This is rather cut and dried in a lot of ways. Like, if I asked you what the Red Room or the Black Lodge, what does that represent? You and I might have similar but different answers. If I ask you, what is the Wild Palms group? What are they trying to do? I think our answers are going to be almost identical. And I think that's also a problem with something like this is it's trying to be mysterious, but ultimately the answers are insanely mundane and or are not answered at all.
Right.
Like
they're just not there, or they're what you think they are.
Yeah, like Nick Mancuso, like Ernie Hudson, like Charles Rocket is in this. I mean, we already mentioned Robert Morris. Like, there's a lot of people in this that are just kind of there for a moment and then gone. And, like, why is the stand-up comedian working with the Friends? Why is
Have you ever wanted to dive deeper into the horror movies you love? Beyond the Blood is a horror podcast for fans who want more than just surface-level screams. We do deep dives into the movies that shaped us, digging into director commentaries, behind-the-scenes stories, deleted scenes, and the special features that most people skip. Each episode is a love letter to the genre. We break down how these films were made, the creative risks that paid off or didn't, and the lasting impact they've had on the genre as a whole. From 70s slashers to modern nightmares, we celebrate the craft, chaos, and characters that keep us coming back. If you're the kind of fan who rewatches movies with the commentary on, or you simply grew up in the video store horror aisle, the Beyond the Blood podcast was made for you. New episodes every single week. Subscribe, and let's dig deep. Welcome to the Beyond the Blood podcast.
this, like, down on his luck lounge singer working with the Fathers? Like, no idea.
Other than I mean, I guess the overall point is just to keep spreading the word, which, is a similar thing within Videodrome of, changing the way people react to things. This is just in a more religious and political way, where Videodrome is more of a commentary on censorship and things like that.
But to be fair, Videodrome does touch on the religious thing a little bit, because they have
it does.
The Church of... what is it? The Church of...
I can't remember what it's called.
I forget what it's called. It's Brian Oblivion's church in Videodrome. Like, other things like this address the topics that this talks about better. I honestly, like, when you and I were talking this morning, as soon as I was done with this, I was like, you know what I should put on? Videodrome. And I haven't watched it yet today. I want to. I haven't seen it in at least a year. But I remember it does... it obfuscates a hell of a lot more than this show does. And it leaves the audience really kind of scratching their heads, wondering what's going on in a lot of ways. But it feels like Cronenberg has something to say. And Cronenberg
It evokes
takes
more
a
of an emotion.
Yeah. I mean, Richard Haddam says it all the time. You got to have something to say if you're going to say something. And if you're making something like this, you have something to say about Scientology, about religion, about technology outpacing us, whatever. Say something. Don't just bring all this stuff up and go, now you deal with it. Like, no. Like, that's not enough. That wasn't enough in 93. It's not enough now.
But overall, I just feel like it never really commits to being as different as it wanted to be. And it just reminds me personally of too many other things that are better and that I would rather watch. That is not to say that it will be everybody else's, perception of these things. And I will say, at least watch it for Angie Dickinson in particularly one moment.
No, there are some really good performances. Yeah, there's good performances in here. I think if this show had taken a stance and had more to say, or been a little weirder, it would be remembered the way Twin Peaks is. Because, for all intents and purposes, Twin Peaks should have got lost in the shuffle. And it didn't. Because memorable characters had something to say, prolonged, enduring mystery. But it could have gotten lost in the shuffle like this did. Because neither one of us had heard of this until we watched it. And we both consider ourselves rather well watched in a lot of stuff.
Yeah, and it came out at the same time on ABC. So I'm very surprised that I never came across it somehow.
And to your point, like we've mentioned, it is very similar to other things that we both really like. That in and of itself is very surprising that I had never heard of it. Because I would have assumed someone would be like, if you've seen this, you might like this. And guess what? This did get released on Kino last year, so...
Oh, wow.
Yeah. But Kino has been putting out a lot of stuff. Namely, a Blu-ray that I'm going to be on later this year, so I'll take it. That being the Kulturecast.
Segue into plugs.
Yeah, but I don't know if that's a plug. That's just me getting to be effusive with praise about our friend Mike White and our podcast, The Kulturecast Tapes, which no longer exists. Because that show is over, and that, we have nowhere else to go other than to be on the Blu-ray re-release, which I'm pretty sure is if you're doing what we're doing and you get to be on a Blu-ray of a show you did an entire podcast show on, that's as good as you can get. Short of
yeah, that's pretty awesome.
Short of being associated with the remake of the show, which given how bad the remake was that they already did, I don't think I want that. So
right.
I'll just be on the re-release of the good show that everybody liked. So I do wonder, though, why this isn't something that more people bring up. Because I feel like with how popular cyberpunk is, this should get mentioned more often.
Yeah, it's really weird how it just kind of fell between the cracks entirely, because it does fit into so many little niches, and, you know, being in the world of weird watching, you would think that just like even a notion of it would have popped up, but now it's. And I mean, hey, that's another thing that while I didn't love the show, it's nice to discover new things that I didn't have any recollection of or didn't knowledge of at all.
Yeah, me too. I mean, this entire year, for the most part, has been, I've either programmed months or let yourself and other frequent guests of this show program months, because I know that you guys have a lot of really cool stuff that you like or want to watch or want me to watch or want to talk about. And this is in that group. I'm glad I watched it. Is it the best thing I've ever seen? No. Was I expecting it to be? No. But is it good enough to maybe throw on in the background, maybe watch it every now and then to maybe readdress my thoughts on it? Sure. It is. It is good enough. And you know what? It actually has some pretty good music in it too, which, I mean, not everybody gets to use Gimme Shelter in their movie. I'm going to assume Oliver Stone had something to do with that.
Yes, I would say so.
Because when the first opening guitar riff of Gimme Shelter started, I was like, they got this song? Okay. Holy shit. Like, this is in rarefied air to get.
Yeah, Oliver Stone's like friends with them, I'm sure.
Sure. And if not, he probably dialed up his old friend Marty Scorsese. And him put in a good word.
Like, hey, can I just borrow one of yours? You own all the rights, right?
Yeah. You're known as the guy who uses these kinds of songs in your movies. Can we use one in our TV show? And as we come to a close here, we mentioned the Oliver Stone thing once. I do want to mention it again. I do not understand why he put his name on this. It added nothing.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure he did because he probably, I mean, his name carried weight. It got them financing, I'm sure. And, you know, maybe that's just what he wanted to do as an EP role. I mean, it is a presents thing. He might have not wanted a lot of, you know, hands-on creative.
Right.
But I mean, it's a government conspiracy thing, so that's on brand.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, when someone says David Lynch's Twin Peaks, we love Twin Peaks because it is David Lynch's Twin Peaks, and that all those things that come along with it.
Yeah, the Oliver Stone energy that you think of is not here.
No. And like you said, in the fact
this
that they
show
talk
needs
about
like
conspiracies,
10 tons more cocaine.
Yeah, tons of it. And like you mentioned to me earlier, Jim Belushi brings up the fact that this is very similar to The Prisoner, which is...
Yes, which if you want to hear us talk about that, you can hear us talk about it on our One Season Show podcast.
Where we're literally talking about The Prisoner right now.
Right now.
What do you think of that comparison?
I mean, I get it as far as like a government control thing, but I think maybe if you just lump it into shows that are weird and
that's
set in the future.
Yeah, I think, well, Jim Belushi said it's very tough, very challenging. A lot of viewers probably won't dig it. See, I think that's what he meant by The Prisoner. I don't think he meant like the government conspiracy part. I think he meant like, this is a project that, for all intents and purposes, someone like myself would not work on. But, right. You know, Jim Belushi's not known for cyberpunk dramas. So.
No.
Yeah. So, Jess, would you skip or watch Wild Palms?
I would watch it. I mean, I was intrigued by it because, you know, if you are interested in that world, it's definitely worth checking out for certain aspects and for certain performances. I wouldn't watch it again probably because I just don't really feel drawn back to it in the way that I feel drawn to other things to rewatch. But if it's something, you know, if you like that world, if you're looking for more strange kind of miniseries of the 90s, of which there were many, it's, you know, you could do a lot worse.
Yeah, I agree. I was excited when you picked this, given how much I know you like cyberpunk stuff. And I think my biggest disappointment is that wasn't more cyberpunk, because if this had been like really cyberpunk, I think we would have had a lot different things to talk about. But I would suggest watch it too. I just say watch it with some caveats. Like, if you think it's going to be really cyberpunk, it's not. If you think it's going to have a good conclusion, it doesn't. But I think it's a good mood piece. It's got an interesting vibe to it that, I mean, a very small handful of shows capture that vibe, which is kind of like weird, ethereal, dreamlike. Because even when it's set in reality, it is still kind of dreamy and dreamlike, which is kind of an indicator or a marker of a lot of these kinds of shows, where it's like, what's real, what's not, what's technology, what isn't, what's spiritual.
Yeah, but I never really felt confused at any point as to what was reality and what wasn't.
That also feels like a missed opportunity.
Yeah, because I mean, when they go into like VR world, I mean, the only like spot for that they left open for like confusion is the projection holograms in a space, like, you know, confusing people, but which, you know, they do. But I think that it would just be more interesting if we could spend more time with the other aspect of the VR, which I know is the more expensive, time consuming aspect. And ultimately that's not, you know, that's just a matter of timing. It's 1993.
Yeah.
I'd like to see what a Wild Palms now would look like.
Me too. I honestly think that, again, I've had this conversation before. I think you would agree. Why are we remaking things that were good? Like, something like this is kind of ripe for remake. Like, I don't think
just do things that were kind of mediocre and had, like, interesting concepts but didn't quite get there, and just go for it.
And see if you can nail it now. Like, VR is a thing now. I own a VR headset. It is consumer grade. You can go and buy a VR headset for like $250 on Amazon, and it's a really nice VR headset. It's not unattainable technology anymore. It's not Star Trek technology. It's, you know, at one point our cell phones were Star Trek technology with touch screens. You know, that's
and cameras and all.
Yeah, oh yeah, cameras. I mean, yeah, people used to have to carry around cameras. Now you have it on your phone. I mean, there's all this stuff that like 10, 15 years of distance from when this came out, or almost 20 now. I think there would be some interesting things to talk about if something like this came back. Maybe not this show, but I don't know why cyberpunk hasn't made it into the mainstream more than it has. Because we have fantasy in the mainstream, we have sci-fi in the mainstream.
And you're talking about television or movies?
Both.
Fair.
What is the most cyberpunk movie you can think of? Blade Runner?
Recently, yeah, Blade Runner is probably going to be it.
Blade Runner or Blade Runner 2049?
Well, I mean, like ones that have come out recently. Like, if we're talking about recent mainstream, then it's going to be the last Blade Runner. And
what was the thing before that? The Blade Runner before it? Like, that's
Tron?
what I get. I don't know. I don't know if I consider Tron cyberpunk.
I mean, it's virtual reality, though.
Yeah, but cyberpunk and virtual reality aren't always one and the same. They don't have to be.
True.
I don't know. I think for me, like, if I think of something
Dread.
that's like, yeah.
But all of those things are based on known properties, too.
Yeah. I mean, even Blade Runner, like,
Blade Runner
is a book. You know,
it's
not
a book, yeah.
Yeah. It's weird. Like, when I think of cyberpunk, it's one of these things that, like, I assume, unrightfully so, that it is a thing that people are into. I mean, Netrunner, the board game, D&D. I mean, not D&D, but there are tabletop cyberpunk games. Johnny Mnemonic. There's all kinds of stuff that's cyberpunk 2077. But yet it hasn't crossed over into the mainstream.
That's expensive to make.
Yeah, that has to be part of it. The moment you start talking about cyber augmentation of actors and stuff, it's like, nah, I'm good.
Yeah, sci-fi in general is a hard sell for
it's not
most
cheap.
studios. It's not cheap, and it's not necessarily like, it doesn't necessarily translate to like overseas markets.
It doesn't translate to middle America.
Well, not too. Okay, over lakes audiences.
Yeah. I think that, I mean, I just love cyberpunk stuff, as I know you do. So I think for me, like, I would love to see more cyberpunk stuff. That's kind of what I walked away from this feeling like. I'm just like, I would love to see more cyberpunk stuff done with today's technology, or even like not hyper big studio backed cyberpunk, just like a smaller, quieter cyberpunk story, something. Because cyberpunk is cool. It is very cool.
It is.
It's aesthetically pleasing in a lot of ways too. It's an interesting aesthetic to kind of go after. And this kind of does its own interpretation. I think it's an interesting interpretation, but I just want more of it because, man, we have everything else. We have enough Game of Thrones type shows, enough Star Treks, Star Wars, Marvel shows to fill a bucket of those genres, and yet cyberpunk is kind of Johnny Mnemonic, Blade Runner, this, even though nobody remembers something like this. So, I don't know.
Cell. Is Cell cyberpunk?
Cell the movie?
Maybe not.
With Jennifer Lopez?
Yeah.
I've never seen it.
I just watched that. I feel like I liked it.
There aren't a lot of cyberpunk things.
No, there's not. Other than within games and
or literature. They know who made cyberpunk famous because William Gibson, who wrote Neuromancer, is in this. And they hang a lantern.
Yeah, that's true.
They hang a lantern on the fact that he's in this. So, I've never read Neuromancer. I kind of want to.
I have not either.
But
I am actually really shamefully underread when it comes to sci-fi.
I'm underread on that kind of sci-fi. My dad used to and is into a lot of galaxy exploring sci-fi, Star Trek type stuff. Not ancient aliens, but who are the founders of our race type shit. Ben Bova, Isaac Asimov. More kind of classical sci-fi, less cyberpunk. Because cyberpunk is new wave sci-fi.
The future.
Yeah. Philip K. Dick. Harlan Ellison, stuff like that. Because cyberpunk is pretty much just sci-fi with drug culture. Drug culture and sex with sci-fi on top. That's kind of the way I look at cyberpunk.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, Judge Dredd is a very good example of cyberpunk. The original movie, not so much, but Judge Dredd in general.
I don't know if RoboCop is considered that.
Is it cyberpunk or dystopian? Or are they always... I guess those two things
I feel like they can be both. I don't know. I should brush up on what the actual what the defining traits or tropes are for
science fiction in a dystopian, futuristic setting that tends to focus on a combination of low life and high technology.
Right.
So I guess RoboCop, in a way.
Yeah, because it's just Total Recall is cyberpunk.
Yeah, I mean it's a.
But all of those things did not come out recently.
No, you know what? Actually, the most cyberpunk thing, other than Blade Runner, is The Matrix.
Yeah. Yes, that's true.
An Akira or Ghost in the Shell.
Right.
Not the movie. The series.
I know. Mm-hmm.
God. But yeah, I walk away from this wanting more cyberpunk, and maybe this will put me on the path to getting more into cyberpunk. So
maybe there's a cyberpunk month coming.
Maybe. I mean, I have been looking for a reason to talk about a movie nobody talks about, Blade Runner. What can we say about Blade Runner? What else has no one said at this point that we could say?
Do you like the narration or no?
I have a very controversial opinion on that, so...
Oh, no.
Yeah, my opinion is I don't mind the narration. That was the way I saw the movie the first time, so...
Fair.
I know that, makes everybody mad, and I'm just like...
I don't really care.
Sorry. It's the same goddamn movie, either way. When Ridley Scott decided to put the unicorn into the movie, that's when things started changing. And that has nothing to do with narration. Let's take a break, and we'll play a preview for the next Kulturecast of September.
Every girl I see looks good to me. I love a life of nothing but beautiful women. While I'm girl happy, yes, I'm girl happy.
Yes, everybody's girl happy when Elvis invades the land of the bikinis on those spring vacation revels. And thousands of college kids go, go, go.
Big fever. Watch that fever climb.
There is no doubt now, love is in the air.
Get up, spring is everywhere. Grab the first one in your reach. Now we're gonna shake the beach. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
They come from everywhere for those mad vacation days and nights, with a spotlight on love as thousands of the faithful neck up a storm.
No boys in the room.
Thank you.
do not disturb. Hang a sign on the door. Dig right into the clouds. Dig right into the clouds. There ain't no doubt about it. She's the meanest girl in town.
Speaking of new faces, how do you like this one? It's Shelley Fabaret. She's delectable, she's talented, and she's with Elvis.
For I'm just a puppet on a string. You can do most anything with me.
I've got news for you. 2, 3, 4.
What's the matter with you?
My father is paying you to take care of me. I think you ought to get more for his money.
I'm not a detective, I'm a father.
Oh, I've just been informed that she's in jail.
Jail? You mean you want to be in jail? It's to see a girl. A jailbreak going the other way.
Hey, how did you get in here?
The boys dug a tunnel.
The boys dug a tunnel. Then there's more?
Cradle made me jump for joy. Girl, happy, well, I'm girl happy, yes, I'm girl happy. Can't you see?
Do you know we could have had something beautiful together?
Said I'm girl happy, yes, I'm girl happy. Can't you see?
That's right, on the first Culture Cast of You've Never Seen September, we are going to be talking about Girl Happy. What is the theme of You've Never Seen September, you might ask? Well, Father Malone has a great genre in store for us. I guess it's not really a genre. Are Elvis movies a genre, or are they just a thing?
I would say they're a genre.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, they kind of occasionally fall into like the beach movie genre and stuff, but I mean, Elvis made so many movies that I think it does qualify to be its own thing.
Yeah. So yeah, we're going to be talking about Elvis movies in September. We're going to be starting off with Girl Happy, then transitioning to Roustabout, then King Creole, and finishing the and finishing the month up with Fun in Acapulco. So I assume these are all fun Elvis movies.
Yes, I would think so.
Not Change of Habit, which, rest in peace, Ed Asner. I already did that movie.
Aww.
If you want to go listen to me talk to Ed Asner on that episode, it's in the vault. You can go listen to it. But yeah, we're going to be talking about Elvis movies. Jess are going to be joining me about halfway through the month to talk about Roustabout.
Yep.
So I've never, or not Roustabout. No, actually.
I thought I was on Happy. I thought I was on the next one.
Yeah, I was going to say, Jess, you're actually going to be joining me on the next episode when we talk about Girl
Yes,
Happy.
I will.
And I've never seen it, so.
I've never seen it either. Here's the thing. I've never seen a single Elvis movie, so.
Yeah, the only one I've seen is Change of Habit, which is the one we've covered on the show, so.
No, yep. I've seen, I've seen clips and things enough to know, like, certain movies, like Jailhouse Rock and all that, but I've never actually sat down and watched an Elvis movie. So,
yeah.
This will be fun.
No, I am definitely looking forward to it, and I'm
assuming it's not 5 hours.
It's just a movie.
No, I
just
know.
An hour and a half movie. So no, I don't think so.
So it's just 5 hours of Elvis gyrating.
I mean, is that bad of a thing, really?
No, I wouldn't be upset about that, though. I was just asking.
No. Is it just Elvis shaking it for 5 hours? No, but if we just loop it for one scene over and over, it could be. Until then, Jess, where can people find you when you're not here?
You can find me on Twitter at writer Jess Byard, and you can also find me on my Linktree, which is the same handle, writer Jess Byard. And if you want to hear Chris and I talking about things not movie related, you can hear us over on our show, Scary Stories We Tell, where we're talking about things like true crime, paranormal, UFOs. We have all kinds of fun interviews with really awesome people out there. So go check that out. And like we mentioned as well, we are currently talking about Prisoner on our show, the one season show. So if you are just dying for more weird, nonsensical television, go check that out.
That is that entire show in a nutshell. Weird television. Just
weird, nonsensical television.
Yeah, pretty much. As for me, you can find me at my Linktree, which is cstachiw.com. That's my Linktree. Like Jess mentioned, we do a couple shows together. I also do a couple shows with our good friend, the host of the Projection Booth podcast, Mr. Mike White, and my friend, the host of Dark Destinations podcast, Father Malone. We do a podcast together called Dreams for Sale, which talks about the Twilight Zone 85, and Mike and I do a podcast together covering the life and times of Barney Miller, aptly called The Life and Times of Captain Barney Miller. You can find all those at my link tree. As for this show, Kulturecast.com, patreon.com/Kulturecast. Big thanks as always to our Patreon supporters. Big thanks as always to you, Jess, for watching, I think, the longest thing either one of us have watched for this show. So, I guess...
How long was Bollywood movie?
Not 5 hours.
Really?
It was 3.
Neither of them? I thought the robot one or the...
No, the robot one was 3.5 at most. I guess, to be fair, the longest thing we have watched was all 3 Lord of the Rings movies.
Yes, that's true.
But that's 3 movies. So, I don't know, maybe it counts? I guess so. I guess it counts in that you had to watch all 3 of them to talk about them here, so...
Yeah, because it'd been a long time since I'd actually watched them.
That's fair. But yeah, so thank you for joining me, Jess. And we'll catch up.
As always.